Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why? Or found yourself searching for the right word, something simple, yet it's just gone? You laugh it off. You say, it's normal. I'm just tired. I've got too much on my mind. But what if I told you? These aren't just harmless moments. They could be your brain's quiet cry for help. Because here's the truth. Your brain starts aging long before you feel it. And for millions of people, the first sign is so silent, so subtle, that it gets completely ignored until it's too late. Today I'll reveal what that sign is. A clue that your brain may be aging too fast, decades before Alzheimer's, before dementia, before even the slightest diagnosis. If you catch it early, you can fix it. But if you miss it, the damage becomes permanent. So please stay with me until the end. Because your ability to remember, focus, speak, and even feel joy all depends on what you'll hear today. What brain aging really means and why it starts earlier than you think. Most people believe that brain aging starts at 70, when memory loss becomes obvious or when dementia sets in. But that's a myth. Scientific studies show that your brain begins aging as early as your 30s. By your 40s and 50s, changes in memory, attention, and processing speed are already happening, just more slowly, more quietly than anyone notices. It starts with small things. Taking longer to recall names, needing more time to learn new skills, feeling mentally foggy after a poor night's sleep, struggling to multitask like you used to. These are not just stress. They're not normal for age. They are early neurological changes, silent but measurable. And here's the real shocker. Your brain volume shrinks as you age. After 40, you begin losing about 5% of your brain mass every decade. That includes regions responsible for memory, problem-solving, and emotional control. But don't panic. Because while aging is natural, accelerated aging is not. And it's this acceleration that we need to talk about, especially the silent sign that reveals it's already happening. We'll get to that shortly. The difference between normal aging and accelerated decline. So how do you tell the difference between normal brain aging and something more serious, something that's accelerating silently? Normal aging may cause occasional forgetfulness. You might forget where you parked, but not how to drive. You might need more time to learn, but you still retain what you've learned. But accelerated brain aging is different. It doesn't just slow you down, it changes how your brain functions day to day. Here's how to tell. You forget conversations completely. You get lost in familiar places. You find it harder to make decisions. You feel emotionally flat or unusually irritable. You begin repeating yourself and don't realize it. These aren't just senior moments. They're signs that neurodegeneration may be starting. And the danger? It happens slowly. So slowly that even doctors dismiss it. They say, it's just stress. But you know deep down, something's changing. And if that change is happening before age 60, that's not normal. That's your brain aging too fast. And that's when the silent sign begins to show. We're almost there. But first you need to understand what's speeding it up. The hidden causes accelerating brain aging. After 50, most people think brain decline is just about age. But the truth is, it's lifestyle, not just time, that wears the brain down. Let's look at the silent enemies that speed up brain aging, especially after 50. 1. Chronic inflammation. When your body is inflamed, your brain is inflamed too. This leads to damaged neurons, slower communication, and memory loss. And the culprits? Processed foods, excess sugar, lack of movement, environmental toxins, even poor gut health. 2. Blood sugar spikes. Even without diabetes, blood sugar swings starve your brain of energy. Insulin resistance, now common in people over 50, affects the hippocampus, your memory center. 3. Sleep deprivation. Skipping deep sleep prevents the brain from cleaning itself. Toxins build up, plaques form. And the result? Mental fog, slower thinking, emotional imbalance. 4. Cortisol overload. Chronic stress floods your brain with cortisol. This shrinks the hippocampus and leads to faster aging, anxiety, and forgetfulness. 5. Vitamin and mineral deficiencies. Low levels of B12, D3, omega-3, and magnesium are linked with accelerated brain shrinkage. Yet most people over 50 never check these. So when you combine these factors, you don't just age, you speed up the damage. And that's when the silent sign appears. In the next part, I'll show you what that sign is and how to spot it. The silent sign. Most people miss main hook. So what is the silent sign that your brain is aging too fast? It's not forgetfulness. It's not confusion. It's not even memory loss. It's something more subtle, more easily dismissed, but far more dangerous. It's losing your sense of smell. Yes, your ability to detect odors. That's the earliest sign that something inside your brain is changing. You stop noticing your favorite perfume. Coffee smells bland. Food starts to taste less vibrant. You don't notice the scent of flowers, or worse, of danger like gas or smoke. This doesn't happen by accident. The olfactory bulb, the part of your brain responsible for smell, is one of the first regions affected in neurodegeneration. Loss of smell has been shown to predict Alzheimer's and Parkinson's years before diagnosis. And here's the frightening part. Many people over 50 write it off as aging, but it's often the brain's first scream for help. It's subtle. It's quiet. And it's usually ignored. But now you know. If you've noticed a loss in smell, your brain might already be aging faster than it should. And in the next part, I'll explain what's really happening inside your brain when this occurs, so you can take action before it's too late. What's happening inside your brain? When this sign appears, when you begin to lose your sense of smell, something much deeper is happening inside your brain's structure. The area responsible for smell is located near the hippocampus and entorhinal cortex, both of which are critical for memory and learning. When those regions begin to deteriorate, it often starts subtly, with inflammation, poor blood flow, or the early buildup of beta-amyloid plaques, the same markers found in Alzheimer's disease. What's even more alarming, researchers have found that a reduced ability to identify smells is directly linked to brain shrinkage, especially in areas responsible for memory, language, and emotion. So when you stop smelling your morning coffee or your favorite meal, it's not just your nose. It's your neural health. Your brain is losing connections, struggling to process sensory input, becoming more vulnerable to oxidative stress, and entering a state of accelerated decline. And because these regions are deep in the brain, you won't feel pain. You won't notice the damage until the symptoms are severe. But if you recognize this early, you have a powerful opportunity. You can stop, even reverse some of the decline. That's what I'll share in the next section. Who's most at risk, and why it's not just genetics? You might be thinking, well, I don't have Alzheimer's in my family, so I'm safe. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Only about 1 in 4 cases of cognitive decline are strongly linked to genetics. The rest are shaped by lifestyle, environment, and silent inflammation. Here's who's most at risk for accelerated brain aging. People with high blood pressure or poor circulation. Those who live with chronic stress or anxiety. Anyone with pre-diabetes or insulin resistance. People with poor sleep quality or sleep apnea. Adults with low levels of physical activity. Smokers or former smokers. Those exposed to environmental toxins like heavy metals or mold. People with low intake of B vitamins, omega-3s, and antioxidants. And of course, if you've noticed changes in your ability to smell, you're already on the radar. But here's the good news. Because the brain is neuroplastic, meaning it can rebuild and rewire itself, you are not doomed by your risk. You can change the trajectory of your brain health starting today, but only if you act before the damage becomes irreversible. In the next section, I'll show you exactly what happens if you ignore this silent sign and how devastating the consequences can be. The damage. This silent sign predicts if ignored. When you ignore the early warning signs, especially something as subtle as smell loss, you're not just losing a sense. You're losing time. Because while the change seems small on the surface, inside your brain, a process of degeneration is unfolding. Here's what often follows in the months or years after smell loss is first noticed. Memory lapses become more frequent. Word-finding difficulties start affecting conversations. Mood swings and irritability appear without explanation. Trouble concentrating or making decisions becomes daily. Eventually, even basic tasks feel overwhelming. These aren't isolated issues. They're the cascade effect of neuronal damage caused by inflammation, oxidative stress, and the breakdown of brain networks. And the longer this continues without intervention, the more likely it leads to mild cognitive impairment, MCI, Alzheimer's disease, or even vascular dementia caused by restricted blood flow in the brain. Here's the heartbreaking truth. Many people don't act until they can no longer recognize loved ones, until they lose their independence, until the damage can't be undone. But that doesn't have to be your story, because there are real science-backed ways to fight back, and that's exactly what I'll show you in the next section. How to reverse brain aging naturally, starting today. Yes, your brain can age too fast, but here's the truth that gives us hope. You can slow it down. You can even reverse some of the damage. And you can build a brain that stays sharp, focused, and alive well into your 60s, 70s, and beyond. Let's look at what works based on science, not trends. 1. Protect your sleep. Your brain cleanses and repairs itself during deep sleep. Aim for 7 to 9 hours and avoid screens at least 1 hour before bed. Poor sleep yields brain fog, memory issues, mood problems. 2. Fix your nutrition. Feed your brain with omega-3s from wild salmon, flaxseed or algae oil. B vitamins, especially B12 and folate. Magnesium threonate crosses the blood-brain barrier. Antioxidants, berries, turmeric, dark greens, healthy fats, avocado, olive oil, walnuts. Avoid ultra-processed foods, refined sugar, industrial seed oils like canola, soybean. 3. Train your brain. Learn a new language. Pick up an instrument. Do puzzles. Novelty and challenge stimulate neurogenesis, the growth of new brain cells. 4. Move daily. Exercise increases blood flow to the brain, enhances memory, and reduces inflammation. Even a 30-minute walk each day makes a difference. 5. Calm your nervous system. Meditation, prayer, breathwork, whatever brings stillness, lowers cortisol, and protects memory. 6. Get tested. Check your vitamin B12, vitamin D3, homocysteine, CRP, inflammation marker, blood sugar, A1C, sleep quality, especially apnea. When you see the numbers, you can take control. And finally, 7. Smell everything. Stimulate your brain by re-engaging your olfactory sense. Essential oils like rosemary, peppermint, and frankincense have even been studied for brain activation. Act now, protect your brain before 60. Let's go back to where we started. You forget why you entered the room. You miss a familiar smell. You can't find the word again. You think it's nothing. But it might be everything. Because your brain doesn't fall apart overnight. It fades little by little. And most people don't notice until it's too late to fix. But you're not most people. You're here. You stayed. You're aware now. That alone puts you ahead of the millions walking blindly into cognitive decline. So what will you do with this awareness? Will you wait? Or will you act? Because the truth is, the brain is plastic. It can heal. Neurons can regrow. Pathways can be rebuilt. You have time if you start now. Start with one change. A walk. A better meal. A night of real sleep. A visit to check your B12. And watch how the fog begins to lift. Because this is your moment. Not tomorrow. Now. If this video helped you, please like it, share it with someone over 50, and subscribe for more truths about brain health your doctor may never tell you. I'm here to reveal what others won't, because your brain is your future, and you deserve to protect it.